Oh, sorry. Welcome back. We are we've got some stuff done here. Since the last episode where we got the engine back together and put back in the car from the head gasket repair, we are now moving on to actual fun stuff. Like actually doing upgrades to the car and making it better instead of just making it not broken. I did de-sticker it. The sponsor stickers and everything are gone. We do not plan on racing this car in 2022. So pulled all the stickers off, took it to the car wash, sprayed it off. It needs a more intense detail than that, but it's kind of cold. It's it is early January. But what we've done right now, let's go take a look over here. We've got the back of the car up in the air, and we've dropped the gas tank out. And we've got this tank almost driven it down. It's below E on the thing, and the reason we're taking the tank out is because we got some goodies to put in here. I'll put this around so you can get better look. This is a piece of Holley Hydramat. Now, if you haven't seen what this stuff does, definitely check out Holley's YouTube channel and find their Hydramat videos. This stuff is witchcraft. It kind of replaces the sock at the bottom of the filter inlet or the pump inlet on the hanger. Normally there's a nylon pre-filter sock hanging off the bottom of your pump hanger. This replaces that. And the thing about this material is if fuel is touching any of this membrane, you'll get full flow to the pump inlet. It's crazy. And what this will get me is I'd have been having problems driving the car. If I got below a half a tank, I'd fuel starve in some spots. And the Grand Nationals have a sump in the tank from the factory, and it works great up to a certain point. With a 450 liter per hour pump, though, I think what's been happening is the sump is getting sucked dry faster than it refills from the rest of the tank when it gets below half tank. Now, it can't be pumping completely dry, right? There's still fuel in there, but it's pulling air. And so what I'm hoping this will do is alleviate that, because if there's any fuel in that sump, and if any of that fuel is touching any fuel outside of that sump, this will draw it in, and hopefully that starvation will go away. Also helping that is this other new gadget. Like this. This is a solid state relay. And what this will do for us, once we're in and wired up, is it goes in line on the power line between the main fuel pump relay and the fuel pump itself. And so I'll have to splice that in. You can see the two big blades, and then the other one's a ground, and then there's a signal wire that comes from the ECM. And so I'll have to obviously wire it into the ECM. There is a connector right about here. It's a purge canister solenoid. That solenoid's not used by the ECM that's on here. So, but the people that made the ECUGN over at Turbo Tweak were nice enough to terminate that solenoid activation point to an input on the computer. So once I get it cabled to this guy, and I got to run a wire all the way back to the car to do it, but we do it. But once that's done, I'll be able to enable that input, and then we'll be able to. What it'll do is it'll let me throttle the pump. So right now I'm putting fuel power to the pump. It's pumping 450 liters per hour through the fuel system. If the car is not consuming that much fuel, it has to go through the return line back to the gas tank. What happens when you're flowing way more fuel than you need, like at idle or cruising, is there's friction inside the fuel system from all that fuel moving, and the fuel starts to heat up. And last year at the Time Trials Nationals, we were seeing fuel temperatures up close to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. The flex fuel sensor provides us with temperature reading, so that's bad. Now, of course, it was 102 that day, so it's really a 38 degree rise in the fuel pressure. So if we we're outside driving it around on a day like today when it's 50 degrees, then the fuel's going to be 80 degrees, right? Or almost 90 degrees, which is still pretty warm. But we don't want that. So what we'll be able to do with this relay is we'll be able to derate the pump when it's not needed, and that reduces the flow, reduces the friction. It'll keep the fuel cool. So let's do the easy part first, and that's going to be getting the hanger out and putting this sock on. That is nasty. I was not expecting that. When I installed this tank was clean. So let's get a light and take a look down in here. Alright, looking in here. This tank is pretty clean. I've got some spits and starts. We've got some metal shavings in there, which is weird. So let me get some paper towels. But you can clearly see the sump that's included in this tank, right? And so it feeds from the rest of the tank through that area right there. So what the Hydramat's going to do is if there's any fuel getting in there that touches the Hydramat after I put it in, it'll get picked up by the pump and pulled in. And that's what we need, because right now if this is getting, of course that's filthy and clogged, right? So that's not good either. So and right now you can see this thing doesn't cover much of this. So let's get this crap cleaned out while we got it open, and then we'll swap that part on. Okay, we got the old sock off. It's look at that, but it's quite filthy. So that's the inlet right there, and the sucker just attaches right there. So let's get it installed. Careful measurement in front. We have clearanced our parts. No, I think I can. Okay, some careful modification of the old grommet, and this guy is secure. So now we gotta fish this back through the hole. Let's see if this makes good TV or not. Okay, about doing it the hard way. We managed to get the lines off and pull the tank out so I could, excuse me, I think it's roast beef. Now we're going to tap the lock ring back on and then shove it back into the car. And so I'll set this down and you can watch that. So we're under the car doing this relay here. We've got this solid state relay for the variable fuel pump control, right? So this I've already attached that ground wire. That's okay. So I made a harness, right? And we'll just set this camera down right here. And you'll be able to see what we've done here is this sends power from the battery. Well, there's a relay too, to the fuel pump. That goes to the fuel pump. You can see it disappear. And we got our new thingamabobber here. So we can plug this side in here. All right, and then this side can go here. All right, and that's a ground. And then this guy is going to go to this blue wire. I'll show you where that's going here in a second. We'll connect this for right now. This blue wire is kind of temporary. And of course we got to mount this. We'll stick it up there here. We've got to drill a couple holes. Right now we're just making sure stuff works. So that blue wire goes. Of course I can run it all the way out here. And what we've done is we made another thing. And this is the old evap canister purge solenoid. And that wire goes straight to the ECU. And we have already made the changes in the computer. If it'll come up, go here to fuel settings, fuel pump and pressure. So we've set it at 100 kPa below, 60%, 100, 200, 100 above 100, 100%. And these other things came from the instructions I got from Eric Marshall at Turbo Tweak. So it's really cold. I'm not gonna open the garage door, but let's see if this thing will start. So we're gonna let's close this. Whoop, close. All right, so let's power this on. I hear a pump. All right, let's go over here. Now my fuel pressure sensor is bunk, but we've got the gauge. We have fuel pressure. All right, let's see if she fires. Here we go. Pulse width fuel control works. Shut this off before I gas myself. So all I got to do now is actually mount the controller somewhere. It comes with a nice beefy self-tapping screw. So I got to drill a hole, and then we're going to route this blue wire through the engine bay and down the frame rail with the other fuel pump wiring. But that's the end of that. That's pulse width modulated fuel pump control. That's really going to cut down our fuel temps when putting around in traffic. And oh, the other thing, I don't know, maybe you looked at this, but this car is kind of really shiny. It's shinier than it was. And what I ran off and did is I bought some of Larry Casilla's stuff. Mostly his frothy and some other crap, because I don't have water out here and it's a pain in the butt to wash this car. I washed this car without a bucket with just a couple rags and his stuff in about an hour. And no puddles, no mess. And I mean, the car is, you know, smooth and shiny. So good stuff, Larry, thanks. We've got the relay mounted up conveniently right to the bumper there. It's not going anywhere. I Loctited that nut so it's not going to shake loose. Got the wiring zip tied up. My adapter harness works beautifully. We got the blue wire from the front of the car, tucked it into the power wire for the relay in the loom. So we're gonna have to test that and make sure that we don't get some interference or anything. I'll screw that up. But it's all packaged up, ready to go. Next thing we got to do is get some gas in this thing and put it back on the ground, which I'm going to put it back on the ground right now, but you don't need to see somebody jacking a car up and down. That's boring. So that actually kind of concludes the winter work on this car. We've got a lot done. Brakes are kind of spotting. We need to get this out, but the weather's kind of crappy here right now. So once we get good weather, we'll get this out for a cruise and see how all this stuff works. thanks for watching, and hit the like and subscribe, and see if we can get my subscriber count up. And I'm glad you watched all the way to the end too. Thanks a bunch.